Hello everyone, Glenn Wittenberg back with another build. I've decided to build a VMware ESXi server, and so I was kind of going to go on the cheap and kind of get some minimal stuff so I could load up some images from a vendor of mine, Oracle, for their SSB or SPC servers. Sorry about that. They have an image on VM that you can load. And it's only compatible with, of course, their Oracle VM or VMware ESXi, maybe even Player, but they wouldn't guarantee that. And I tried to load up their VM software from Oracle, and wow, what a hodgepodge that was. I've played with a lot of VM stuff, ESXi, KVM, TrueZen, but the Oracle VM, which is based on Xen, is just a mess. I didn't like it at all. The interface was kind of a web-based deal there, very, very clunky. I didn't like the way you had to allocate the resources, etc. So I ditched that. And then the little box that I was going to turn into an ESXi is not compatible with the ESXi 5.5. So again, I was just going to get some new hardware and go on the cheap. And then I thought, well, let me get something really good. And then after I'm done testing, I'll turn it into my main desktop. And then I'll turn my desktop that I have now into the ESXi. So I kind of, got quite a bit more than what I should have just for the ESXi. But it'll be fun to play with. But again, later on, this will be my main PC when I convert everything over when I'm done. But I got the MSI Z. Well, real quick here, I kind of want to base everything on the Intel 6th Gen Core i5. It's a quad core, no hyper-threading. I don't necessarily, not a big fan of hyper-threading. I think it's a bunch of hype. Get it? Anyway, so whoops, turn that around. So this is the 6600 i5. It's 3.3, but it boosts up to 3.9. That's kind of the fastest i5 you can get. There's a K model too, which is unlocked, so you can overclock. I'm not really down with that, so I saved the 30, 40, 50 bucks, whatever it was, and just got the locked version. So pretty happy with that. So that was kind of where I started at. And of course, this supports DDR4 memory as well. So definitely want to go that route as well. So I got the MSI Z170A motherboard. And again, for an ESX server VM, it's got a lot of fancy stuff in here that can't be used. But on my PC side, when I get ready, it's got the new USB 3.1 Gen 2 in there, which is supposed to be pretty fast. I look forward to testing that. This also has SATA Express and also Turbo M2, which I think is really cool. So even though let me show you this. I got a Samsung SSD Pro regular SATA. It's a 512 gig that I'm going to use. Later on when I go to PC, when I convert this over, I'll probably go with the M2 and really kind of beef things up that way for some, good speed on the I/O side for disk I/O. So, looking forward to that. It's got some other neat stuff, DDR boost, etc. So, not bad. I'm going to read up on it a little bit tonight and probably start building it this weekend. So, that's kind of my motherboard. So I got my CPU and my motherboard here set up, and then again, like I was saying, it does DDR4. So I went with the Corsair Vengeance series DDR4, 2666 megahertz. It's a 16 gig set. The motherboard has 4 slots on it, so I can always add another 16 and go to 32 if I wanted to. I think this goes all the way up to 64 as well on this motherboard, if I'm not correct, but I don't necessarily have a need for that. But I think if I later on, if I need to, if I keep this as ESXi, then I might want to add some memory to it. If not, if I just turn it over to my PC, then 16 gigs fine, right? So, and then like I was saying, I got the Samsung SSD 850 Pro. It's a 512 gig, so I should have some good disk I/O for this on the SATA. And enough room to store a couple images here or there, so I'm all right there. Kind of keep things cool and quiet. I got the Thermaltake Frio Silent 12 CPU cooler, so it's supposed to be low noise and cool really nice. So I've never used this particular one before, but I have used other Thermaltakes and like them a lot. So I'm looking forward to this. Do that. And to power things up, I've got the Corsair CX750 power supply, more than enough. So it's kind of my base system here. I wanted to, you know, get some quality stuff, right? So I got an MSI board, some Corsair memory, Corsair power supply, and of course the Intel CPU, and Samsung. I love their hard drives, especially their SSDs. So I got that. And then Thermaltake, they got a good rep. I've used Thermaltakes before for their CPU coolers, and I've had super good luck with them. So that's pretty much it. And then they had a LG DVD burner writer down there. Instead of using my portable all the time, I figured I would just slap something in the case so I don't have to move my USB around if I want to do some other stuff with it before I convert it over to PC and whatnot. So not too bad. I think it was like 18 bucks or something like that. So yeah, sure stayed on that one. And I've got a case here. Let me just see if I can flip this around. It is Ostrog. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. It's an MRX case. I've used this one before. It's kind of got like a little red trim around the front of it. And I don't even think it really has a picture of the case on it. No, it doesn't. But anyway, you'll see that later when I'm done building it. So, but I've used this case before when I built a Vici dialer for a company. We used this case. And then I think it was 4th gen Intel i7. We put in 16 gig DDR3 RAM in it, and I put 4 SSDs in there and rated it out. And it had SUSE Linux on it. It was the distro of Vici a couple years back. So that thing screamed, man. It works really well. Matter of fact, they're still using it. I spent some time on it just a week or two ago. You know, helping them out, doing some database maintenance and stuff like that on it. So the machine's still running strong. So, you know, pretty happy with that. And I like the way the case felt when I built it. It had good rolled edges in there. It seemed really sturdy. It's got a removable cage in it for the drives and stuff. So that's kind of why I went with that. And it wasn't very expensive either. So I figured I dropped, you know, over $900 on just the stuff you see in this frame, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. I spent $900, and I think it was you know, 920 bucks, and then the rest of it was the DVD CD burner writer and the case. Total bill out the door with tax and everything was like $970. So and again, I got keyboard, mouse, you know, to do the install and stuff like that and lay it down, so I'm fine there. And an extra monitor and stuff too. So that's it. Looking forward to the build. I'll probably just put it on a table, put it all together first, let it burn in before I stick everything in a case. So got to clean off the bench and get ready. Talk to you later. CPU is installed. And there's the little jewel. And as you can see, I'm not going to put that fan on. I'm going to use the other fan. So documentation showed me to line up the triangle. Boom, done deal, snapped right in. Well, made a little progress. I went ahead and put the heatsink on. I still have the fan to do, but that just clips on. But this was quite a job here. The instructions were really crappy. This is a brand new model, so there wasn't any videos on it. The Frio Silent 12. At least I didn't see any installed videos. I looked for a little bit. So I just went through the instructions and pieced together and looked and played with it before I really, you know, assembled it, made sure I had it right. I also put the motherboard, you know, kind of laid it in the case and looked at what clearance and stuff I had on it as well. Now, you would think that I would take this and spin it around, right? So the fins were going the other way. But the problem there is it was getting really close to this slot. This PCIX slot would be completely unusable. That slot there. It covered up this one like right on the edge, so I'd have to really watch what I put in here for that. So I kind of played with the idea of doing it this way. I have plenty of memory clearance. I already put my memory in there and made sure I had clearance on that before I mounted everything and put the thermal grease on and everything. I also have room for my fan to go on this side here and blow that way down the board, right? So the air will come out the radiator this way. And when it's in the case, it'll be standing up like here. So it'll be standing up like so in the case, right? So this, where the heatsink and radiator's at, is at the top of the case, and these are at the back, right, where my ports are, right, my header. And then I've got a fan that fits in the case right here that blows the air out. So if I got air coming down here, and then you know, it might be heated air coming from the CPU heatsink radiator here, and then going out of the case there. So, you know, that'll probably do all right. I can put a bunch more fans in it and stuff, but I want to keep it really quiet. In fact, I might take out, depending on how noisy that fan is in that case, I might take that out and get a really quiet Nautica or something like that for it as well. So, so now we're all hooked up here. I got the came with a little tube of thermal grease. I made sure to clean the surface of the CPU because I accidentally touched it with my finger. So I cleaned that, and then the heatsink had a, here it is, protective cover on it. So I peeled that off. Didn't touch anything there, and put the thermal grease down and seated it down there really good. I didn't have to wiggle it or anything. I lined everything up as I sat it down. I was off just like, you know, just a touch. I just barely had to move my finger on this bracket to get it in there, so I didn't smear anything around. So I think I got a pretty good seat there. We'll know on burn-in and CPU temps. But I'm pretty happy with it so far. It took me a long time, but I got it in there. So that's it. Put the fan on and go on from there. All right, we have the fan on, as you can see here. Sorry for the incredibly bad lighting. Let me spin this around. There we go. It's a little better, right? So I got the fan on and plugged into the CPU fan socket. I also put the memory in. You can see here I had to use slot 2 and 4 is what the book told me to do to match these up into pairs. That little wire right here, it's not touching, but to get that in there, I had to kind of push it up a little bit. Now, if I want to put 2 more modules in this, I got to use 1 and 3. It's 2 and 4, right? So I got to use 1 and 3. Now, to get 1 in, it'll clear the radiator in here. I've already tried that. That's no problem. I can even get it in. But this wire that hangs down, the spring clip, that hangs down a lot lower than the radiator does when it comes through. So I'll have to pop that off to get the other memory in. So that won't be real convenient if it's in the machine. So anyway, something to think about, but I'm sure I'll manage. If all goes well, spins spins this way. Yep, cups the air and should blow it out the radiator. If not, I can always flip this around the other side, but I'm sure it pushes through that way. So yeah, it pushes through this way, so I should be good there. I'll pick it up there, spin it around. You see I still got plenty of room here. The only thing I'm tight on is in my memory right in here, but that's okay. I still got clearance and stuff. I don't plan on messing with that a whole bunch. But I got plenty of room here to mount my plate. Tons of room for all my cards, if whatever I want to put in there. It's got a couple PCI 16s, it looks like, and then some PCIs, and then some PCIX. Right, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slots on this board. Holy cow! So I can do some expansion if I want. In fact, I could even play with the pfSense router if I wanted to, non-virtual, and plug a couple PCIX NICs in there and see if this thing will do gigabit Ethernet routing. So I'm sure it will, right? It's Core i5. So anyway, that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook up a power supply to this thing and see if I can't jump it and turn it on and go through post and see what it looks like. Bye. So we got things booted up. fan is really super quiet. Matter of fact, you can hear my PC at the other side of the table more than you can hear this one. So, I mean, it's just whisper quiet. It is moving some air through. Looks good. Okay. So, not too much to look at there. But you can see I got the BIOS up. And CPU core temps idling at 30. I'll take that all day long. That's not too bad at all. And I'm a little familiar with these with this BIOS, and you can go in and, depending on the temperature or usage, you can bump the speed of the fan up. I'm sure it's just set to super low now because it's barely even spinning. So I don't think that's going to be a problem cooling it. You can see here we've got i5-6600. It's a 3.30, but clocks up to 3.9. It's only like a 65 watt, I think. So that's really cool. Really low power on that. 16 gig of RAM. And the BIOS is 9/7/2015, so it's not very old. I'm going to go up to their site, see if I can find a newer BIOS, and then read the doc on that, see why they, see what the newer version incorporates, see if I even want to use it or not. But not too bad. We're good to go there. So I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna hook up a drive or anything else to it right now. I think I'm pretty good there with the Samsung. I never had a bad Samsung. A DVD might be bad, but if it is, I just go get another one. It's no big deal. It's not a showstopper. So I'm pretty happy. It's my core components: motherboard, CPU, RAM, power supply, and my heatsink with the fan on it. So what's left is I've got my case here. Remember, I took the case out and put the board in there so I could, make sure that CPU fan was going to work okay, and the case was wide enough for it. So there's my box for the PSU. So I've got the Samsung and this, and throw everything in the case. Pfft, boom, just like that. So I might, check out the BIOS. I don't know. If I'm ambitious, I'll put it together tonight. If I'm not, I'll just let it burn in overnight. So that's it. Well, I got everything put together, for the most part anyway. You can take a look in here. My Samsung drive, you can't really see it. Let me try to get some light over here. There we go. My Samsung drive in here, I forgot it doesn't come with any rails, and this doesn't have a place to mount the SSD that I noticed anyway. I'll go through the book a little bit, but I didn't see any place or any mounting place where I could screw that down. So I'll just get an adapter kit and put it in here. I'm probably just going to throw it in the 5 instead of the 3 bay, because this is better for cable management. So I'll just flip that around and stick it in there, and then I can manage these cables a little bit more down here, and tuck this one away on the side as well. So but for the most part, I got cable ties up in there. You can hardly see, and cable ties in here, and got all these cables down here, and I wrapped all this big bundle up and stuck it under. There's a couple extra bays down here. I really don't need those. I don't need that many drives. So there's plenty of storage in here for drives. But looks all right. Like I was saying, my fan works pretty well up in here. There's a fan right here. I thought this was just a little lower, but it's not. There's a fan here. Blows the air out. This blows the air down. So hopefully with the case on, everything will stay pretty cool. I'm feeling the tubes up here on the CPU, and man, they're not even warm. So, and again, it's well, now it's 32 with that motherboard 35. With the cover on it, might get a little bit warmer. I can also put some fans up here, but I would want them, since this is pushing down, since this fan's moving down, I'd want the fans up here to push down, but I don't want to suck any air in here. so I'll probably pass on that. But we'll see how it goes. I can't really put a fan down here because cables will be on it. I don't know if there's any room for front fans or not. I don't think so. So anyway, oh well, we'll figure it out. It'll work. Now I just got to get an OS on it. It sees the drives. I put the 512 gig Samsung SSD on SATA 1 here, and then I've got the CD DVD on SATA 6 down here. So these up here are the fast ports, the enhanced, and these are the slower ports down here. So I'm trying to take advantage of that. But I can put that flash card in here, that M2 in here, and screw it down. And I definitely want to do that. That's going to be fast as crap. That's like what, 32 gigs, like almost 3.5 times faster than regular SATA. So that'll be super fast. So, but what I did do is I just had a USB stick, a 3.0 USB stick with the Windows on it, and went ahead and did the install real quick and applied the updates. And I'll turn that off. There we go. See how fast it boots up here. Boom. That was pretty fast. Let's do that again. Let me go power and do a restart. I don't know where that glare's coming from. Let me turn my monitor down. There we go. So should get a BIOS. There we go. And as soon as the BIOS goes away, we'll probably load Windows. There we go. Windows is loading. And it's up. Ready to log in. Boom. That's pretty fast. Windows 10 does boot quicker than Windows 7. I have noticed that, so that's kind of cool. That's it. I'm going to try to throw ESXi on here. I don't know if I am tonight or not, but it's pretty much the build. I'll go ahead and take another picture when I have the cage in it, or the rails in it, and I got it mounted in the drive cage. And I get these cables tucked away a little bit more, and we should be good to go. So it's probably make a nice little low-end gamer machine, you know, with the CPU on it. If you put a decent graphics card in it, you could even water cool it and get rid of the giant heatsink and radiator at the top. So anyway, power supply went in really nice too, so there was no problem there. So far so good. It all works. Thanks. Quick trip to Fry's, and I got a 5 1/4 cage for the bay here, where I put the Samsung SSD drive in there. So I got that mounted in there, a couple screws on the side. I put the black plate up front, so we're all looking good there. So I got that nice and solid, sturdy. Everything's screwed in. I did a little cable management, tucked the wires back into under the cage there, and I have a zip tie down here, kind of holding that wire in there. So nothing's really flopping around or moving around, so looks pretty stable. I'm going to go ahead and leave Windows 10 on it for the moment, and go ahead and work on the BIOS and the speed, make sure everything's up to spec. I did notice the other night when I went to go use the reset button up here, it wouldn't reset. And then I also had a problem with it not wanting to reboot automatically. So, you know, when I would hit power down, restart, it would shut down, but it was, every once in a while it wouldn't restart. So I wound up updating the BIOS. It's just a couple months difference, newer BIOS, but that fixed it. Now the reset button works, and I have no problems powering off and on. So I'm going to do a little more reading on this board and any bugs in the BIOS that I need to be aware of. So that's pretty much it. I think I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. So we've got some room in here for some cards if we need to. I don't know how this is going to act on a video with ESXi. I might have to get another video in here and disable the onboard. I also built an image last night and slipstreamed the Realtek controller. I think it was 86 something, or I can't remember the model. But the driver in there, I slipstreamed that into the ISO. So it should do the install on that. So I guess we'll wait and see what happens. But there we go. Maybe I'll give you some numbers when I'm all done and I got the BIOS working. Alright, finally got my lab done and set up for testing. And let's give you a quick rundown on what I have here. So this box right here is my NAS. It's a i5 4590, I think. Yeah, 4590. And Intel, it's got